Man, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Man, so as y'all can see, look, we extremely excited. You know, we like to
Hmm.
welcome y'all to another episode in Black Father, February 2023. So,
Indeed.
what's going on, people? You should got testify.
You got CJ 100.
And we are the 5100 podcast. And look, bro, we gonna hit y'all with some of the foreplay, but we want to get right into this one. So,
We getting
number
straight in
one,
there tonight.
man, what, bro? We going straight in. So, number one, go check out our website, the 5100podcast.com. Join our newsletter there to get access to different videos, different discounts that we do on our merch store. Speaking of that, go get the merch. 5100 podcast at Teespring or Spring now and represent the 5100 podcast. Springtime coming up. Get you a nice
Yes,
tee,
sir.
you know what I'm saying? And so show your love for the 5100
Get your
podcast.
baby a onesie. You dig what I'm saying? We got the onesies for the babies, man.
Facts.
You know we love the kids.
I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying? So, CJ, what else we got, man?
Well, as you know, we do have a super chat button. We have a Cash App, a
Cash App.
PayPal. If you want to support the channel and what we're doing over here, because you ain't gonna find content realer than this. You feel what I'm saying? So show some support to the channel, because tonight's show, hey man, I'm gonna need y'all to hit the tip jar. I'm gonna need y'all to the tithes and offering, all that, man. Because we tonight we cooking. We cooking tonight, man. We
Yeah.
cooking tonight. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
bro. We extremely excited to be talking to this brother, our Children Have Rights organization. And you know,
Mhm.
before we get into it, me and CJ was kind of going back and forth and talking about how we've been looking for brothers like this. We've been looking for an organization like this. So
Mhm.
we want to shout out Dr. Tia Son Johnson. If you don't know who
Mhm.
this brother is, please go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Dr. Tia Son Johnson was who introduced us to these guys. Watching one of his episodes, it was a great episode. So if you can, go and subscribe to Dr. Tia Son Johnson on YouTube.
Mhm.
So
Yes, sir.
also, the Our Children Have Rights.org. Look, this brother gonna break it down for y'all what this website is. It's
Mhm.
about helping parents, you know, getting parental rights and understanding how to go about doing it. So, bro, I'm just excited, man.
Let's go. Let's go. It's time to bring this brother on, man.
Yeah, man.
So without further ado, let's bring on the CEO, Greg Hill. Let's give a round of applause
Give a
to my
round of
brother,
applause.
Greg Hill.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
How you
What's
doing,
going
brother?
on, my
hey, man,
brother?
I appreciate you brothers for having me on, man. Did you say pass out the tip jar and the collection plate?
Collection plate, man.
I'm with it. I'm with it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes, sir. We got we got to give a point of reference, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Hey,
absolutely. So I'll go ahead and give a short intro, man, and then we'll get into it. I'll let y'all get back to your show and then run how you want to run it. But
Go
just give the
ahead.
people a little bit of information of who I am and what I do. So
Okay.
like the guy said, my name is Greg Hill. I am the CEO and president of our Children Have Rights.org. And so the mission is to protect children's rights to have access to both parents equally by providing co-parenting resources,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we do that through education, mental health, legal aid, and documentation review. And so we'll get more into those details as the show goes on. But I just want to give everybody a short intro, and then we'll go ahead and get into it more as the show goes on.
Okay, okay. Tiz.
so one of the things that I wanted to ask, man, we wanted to start out with some of the smaller questions before we get into the big Q&A that we're going to have going on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
When did this organization start? Like, when did y'all officially be like, hey, we can really make this happen as an organization instead of us just sitting down talking about it?
So there's some backstory to that,
Okay.
and this is how I can relate to the audience and the people as well. So Originally, my son was conceived in the state of New Jersey. And 3 weeks before he was born, mom moved to Florida. So I had to come to Florida to protect my son's right to have access to me. And so, I did what all parents do, hey, go get a lawyer, right? Lawyer's going to handle it. Lawyer's going to do the right thing for us, by us, for the people. I went and got a lawyer, and the lawyer, I got was a referred lawyer from a family member, a Black female lawyer. So I'm thinking this lawyer is going to understand the plight of the Black man, especially because we need to have our children in our lives.
Right.
Right. So I put it in the lawyer's hands, and I asked questions, but I never got the answers back. So I was like, okay, well, she knows what she's doing. So now I go to mediation. We have a scheduled mediation. Lawyer set up the mediation. I have a mediation. I go into mediation. I get in and I sit down. And so now I'm sitting with my lawyer, and they put us in separate rooms. So the mediator comes in. Now this is a white mediator, a female mediator. I'm not hard on women, but I'm just painting the story. So now we have a white female mediator. I have a Black woman lawyer with me, and we're talking about the black mom, right? I'm surrounded by women. So the mediator comes in and says, hey, listen, you're a smart guy. You make decent amount of money. She makes decent amount of money. Let's cut the crap. This is what you owe. This is what you need to pay. She needs a check. That was my mediation, right? So now I turn to the lawyer, my lawyer. Now I say, hey, well, what's going on here? What's happening here? What's going on? The lawyer said, let me look at the documentation. She looked at the paperwork. She flipped through it. She closed it up. She gave it back to the mediator, and she told the mediator, that's the same thing that I said. So my lawyer agreed with the mediator in mediation. So what I didn't get to the other night when I was on Dr. Hassan. So I'm protesting now. I'm the only one fighting on my behalf. I'm like, well, hey, hold on a minute. What's going on here? Like, why? What's happening? The mediator says to me, that's the problem with these Black men.
Oh,
hold on. They don't want to take care of their babies. Hold on, let me get to it. They don't want to take care of their babies. They want to make these babies and don't want to take care of their babies. I say, well, hold on a minute. Wait. We don't have to do all of that.
Right.
And I took the paperwork and I signed it. Right. So now I'm furious. I'm so pissed off that my lawyer tried to walk behind me. I got in the car and sped off on her and left dirt all in her face. Speedy Gonzalez on her. Walk out. Go. Right. So now I get home and I'm sitting here. I'm ordered to pay, after that mediation, I'm ordered to pay $1,141 a month for a son that has no access to me. Right? So now I'm sitting here and I'm drinking a bottle of liquor a day.
I know that feeling, brother.
Because now, in my mind, we've moved into the mental health pillar. In my mind, I have failed my son as a father. I've failed him. So I sit here in this same chair that I'm in right now for about 3 months, sulking in my loss, in my defeat, feeling like crap, right? And so then the light bulb goes off. Hey man, you're better than this. Are you going to lie down and just take this, or are you going to do something to fight back? Right? So now I start to research. And in my research, I fire everybody else. I'm pissed off. I fire everybody. Lawyers, everybody that was involved in my process, I fire them. And then I start to read and educate myself on the process of how this works. I go to the state of Florida and read everything the state of Florida has. I look at child support calculations. I look at parenting plans. I look at the cookie cutter plans that the courts try to enforce on parents. I look at all these details and educate myself on all these details. And then I go back to the courts. File a motion, get back to the courts. Hey, judge, some of this is wrong. I don't know what's wrong, but this is wrong. I go back to the courts. I present my case. I present all the things that I've now learned. Right. So now once I do that, the judge says, okay, I hear your concerns, Mr. Hill. I'll write a motion and I'll mail it out to you guys. Once I got that motion, go ahead.
Let me ask you before you go too further. What was your relationship like with your child's mother before anything went awry? Like, were y'all on good terms? Like, were y'all compatible? I messed up and we just got an oops baby? Like, what kind of relationship was it that you had with her?
We were good. We were good when she was in the state of New Jersey because I helped her around her house. I cleaned her house. I took care of everything that she needed taken care of. Anytime she wanted to go I went to every doctor visit. I was there. But she stated that she wanted to move to Florida because I couldn't support the baby. Now, understand now, I told her I purchased a house, a multifamily in the state of New Jersey, with the intent of renting out one of the units, and all of that money is going to be the baby's money. I currently rent that unit.
So you're going through the entrepreneur broke, like where you've invested, but you okay.
Right. So now I have this additional residual income that comes in every month. And I'm telling her, look, all that money is the baby money. We're talking about $1,600 a month. That's what I'm still currently renting that unit out for $1,600 a month. And because I had to move to Florida, I turned the bottom unit into an Airbnb. So I'm making money off that house. The house that was for the baby. But because she left and came down to Florida, I had to come down and get another house, use that house as income. But that $1,600 was supposed to be for the baby. But she said I couldn't support him.
Wow.
And so she moved to Florida. She's supposed to be coming closer to her family. Right? So now the baby is born. I get here. I go to the hospital. When I get to the hospital, her mom has the father's band on. You get two bands when you go to the hospital. She had one band to connect to the baby. Her mom has the other band on. Right? So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to cause any confusion here. I'm going to keep it cool. When it was time to take her home, I put her in the baby. I put the baby in the car seat, took her home. When I got to her house, it was trashed. So I'm like, wait a minute. Where's the support that you came here for? Right?
Yep. Okay.
You left me for the support, but now you're not getting supported. Right? And so, long story short, man, it was a fallout there, and I had to leave, right? Because I was telling her about herself, but we had to leave, right? So, we'll get into that a little later. So now we get to where this young man needs access to me. So I try to work with her. I've already went through mediation. I have a bogus plan, and now we're trying to work together. The plan doesn't work for me, so I go back to court and I get that adjusted. And I learn a lot of the details that are needed in our states in order to address the actual custody, right? And so I come out now. So, matter of fact, I'll tell y'all about it. I wasn't going to get too personal. I'll tell you about it. So we go into the courtroom. She's getting $1,141, right? But I'm looking at the child support calculator now. I know the details. I know how they come up with the number. So one of the numbers were child care. She's claiming she's paying $1,200 in child care a month, and the baby's going to a resource, right? So now I'm into the courtroom and I'm saying, Judge, hey, as a father, I have the right to know who my child is, who the baby's with, who our child is with. The judge says, well, hey, ma'am, can you provide him with documentation on who is watching the baby, who's taking care of the baby? She says the baby has an in-home nanny. So the judge says, well, does this nanny have an EIN number? She says, no, the nanny is my mom. Judge says, no, you cannot count that. No, you can't count that. Bet. All right. So now that's $1,200 that's automatically coming off the child support calculation. Right? That's $1,141. $1,200 is already coming off. So the judge says, Mr. Hill, do you have any other concerns? I said, well, Judge, listen, I have insurance on the baby. She goes off. You're not supposed to have insurance on the baby. It's in our parenting plan that I carry the insurance and blah, blah, blah. So the judge says, okay, I'll tell you what, Mr. Hill, take that baby off your insurance. Now that's about $600 for the child to be on your insurance. Whew. You and the baby, it's gonna be about $600. Judge say, take that off. That's automatically $600 to my good now, right? Mm-hmm. The judge then says, okay, do you have? He asked her, do you have the breakdown of what you're paying for the insurance for this baby? She starts to fumble it. No, I don't have it. Judge says, well, then you can't count it. So now we have, so now we have the child care expense and the insurance off of the child support calculation. So now the judge says, well, Mr. Hill, do you have any other thing that you're concerned about? I said, well, Judge, listen, I moved down from New Jersey to Florida. There's no reason why this child can't have more time with me. The only reason why is because you guys are stipulating that he can't have that access to me. So why can't that baby have more access to me? The judge says, okay, I hear what you're saying. Okay, I'll address it.
So great. Before we get deeper into it, okay, we can get back to the personal, but I want to start off with the business side of it so we can know how this became a resource. So what happened to where this came from, this being a struggle of yours personally? What was it that was like, I need to do this. I need to create this organization?
I was almost there. That's why you needed this. You needed this preface to understand the storyline, and then to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing now, right?
Gotcha.
So now we've gone through all that with the course, and I stated that to give an example of how we men have to go and educate ourselves and handle our business, right? So now that I've handled my business and I've understood how the documentation works, now I go and address the judge and hold the judge accountable. And so now the judge is saying, now, okay, I'm going to go ahead and ratify this. I'm going to correct this and address this. So I went from paying $1,121 a month now to $124 based off of the education and the information that I learned now, right? So now that I'm paying $124, I'm like, wait a minute. There's a lot of people out here getting screwed by this because they don't know this information that I just dealt with, that I was just able to do successfully. People need this information, right? And so what I did was I asked myself, if I had the opportunity to do it again, what would I tell me to do? Knowing what I know now, what would I tell me to do? And that's where the book, Our Children Have Rights, comes from. So I wrote the book having a conversation with myself. Me talking to me. Greg, if you had to do this again, what would you tell Greg to do? And that blueprint came out in that book. I wanted it to be a pocket guide, a short story, a short narrative, short information of a list or a skeleton of what we need as parents to protect these children's rights to have access to us. And that's how I got to Our Children Have Rights, right? So I wrote the book. The people loved it. The first month, man, I was selling like 100 books, 150 books. Everybody loved it. And so then I started to, promote it, and I started to go outside with it on, and people were like, hey, have you thought about doing a nonprofit organization? I said, well, I don't know anything about nonprofit, but, if we can put it together, I'll rock with it. I'll do it because we're protecting these babies. And so that's how Our Children Have Rights evolved into the nonprofit organization.
Gotcha. And guys, as you can see, people, as you can see, we got the book pulled up right now. It's $12.99 on Amazon. If you got Kindle, you can download it. And brother, the book. I know that's one of the things that a lot of time they say, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. And I know that's something that we've been challenging. Me and CJ have been challenging. We've seen each other books because there's so much knowledge in these books that we need to be able to sit down, read, and digest. So how long is the book? Like, is it a quick read?
So the book might be 60 pages.
Okay.
And so what I wanted us to do, what I wanted us to have was a small book as a pocket guide. Anytime you're ready to go through these situations, you can go right to that chapter and read 2 or 3 pages on how to handle it. I didn't want it to be anything long. I didn't want it to be the full law book of whatever your state is. I didn't want it to be that. I wanted you to have the skeleton of how we handle these situations. And then once you get that skeleton, then you can fill in the meat for your case, whatever's going on in your case. And so let's get into the book now, right? So the book really has 3 things that I focus on, which is, and I want everybody to take your pen and paper out, write this down. There's 3 things that are the majority of the importance of whatever parenting plan or whatever situation that you got to go through. The first one is the distance. Every state has a cookie cutter process or plan for parents. And there's these 3 things you have to address: the distance from the child. For the non-custodial parent and the custodial parent, what is the distance from the child? In most states, if you are within 20 to 50 miles of the other parent, you have a more successful, you have a greater chance to get 50-50 access, for that child to have 50-50 access to you as a parent. But you have to read up on the law in your state. What are the requirements in your state? This is where you educate yourself. What is it that they're going to require in that cookie cutter plan in order to have 50-50? Right? That's the first thing that we try to stress home in the book. The second thing is insurance. You want to have that insurance on your side of the support calculator. It is important that you have that, because let's think about it. We'll get into it. But have that insurance on your side, right? And then the third part will be the distance. Or matter of fact, the third part will be the overnights. And that is a direct correlation to the distance and a direct correlation to your actual child support obligation. So the closer you are to 180 overnights, the lesser your child support obligation is going to be. So if you
say that one more time. Say that one more time.
The closer you are to 180 overnights, the lesser or the lower your child support obligation is going to be. So let's think about it, right? Let's break that down. What does that mean? So if you have 180 overnights and you have that baby on your insurance, you're already financially responsible for that baby. You're already taking care of that fiduciary responsibility with the insurance. So that insurance might be $600, but that's already $300 to the good for you. Right? And so if you get the 180 overnights, that means the actual monetary support is equal. Or as close to equal as it can be. And then that 300 or that information that the actual insurance that you're paying then goes to your favor. So then that sways it into your calculation. So what she might be paying you. But you have to get as close as you can to the overnight. That's why you see a lot of custodial parents, they fight for the overnights.
They play their game. They do.
That's right. Because they know that is a direct correlation to the monetary value of the calculator. But if you can get that as close to even as possible, and you got that baby on your insurance, that means the numbers are in your favor now.
So is this countrywide or this state?
This is wherever you go. This is worldwide.
Okay.
Worldwide. Whatever it is in your province, state, county, whatever you want to call it. if you have these details in your favor, you will have a more favorable outcome, especially when it comes to the calculations.
Okay.
But that's where they get
Mm.
most non-custodial parents is you don't have the overnights.
Mm-hmm.
See, they're thinking that, they fighting about, what the psychological thing is on the other parent, or, hey, they did this to me, or they called my mama a hoe, all the other stuff, all the other stuff that don't matter. Don't nobody care about that. They care about that calculator and the documentation that goes into those calculations. That's what you need to have into your favor. And if you do those things, anything else that's going on is irrelevant. She can say whatever she wants to say, or he can say whatever they want to say, or the other parent can say whatever they want to say. They can say, hey, he ain't brought no Pampers by, he ain't done nothing. What the paperwork say?
Mm-hmm.
What that calculator say?
Mm.
And great.
That's how you break these things down. Mm-hmm.
And I one of the things that I really wanted to get to as well, and I think we got the question in let me see. We had one of the questions. And let me see. Yeah. So where is it? Here we go. I got it. What is the biggest mistake men make before fight for custody?
The biggest mistake that we make is we don't educate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea how this works. So while we're trying to, navigate this thing, women inherit it, right? So they inherit the rights to
Oh.
So at birth, we know that baby comes out of mom.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if that's your baby dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
Maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be savvy enough. We have to be educated enough to navigate that process.
Okay.
So the biggest thing that men can do before fighting for custody is failing to educate themselves. And so go into it deeper. Most states have what they call a VDOP, Voluntary Declaration of Parentage. Or it could be
say that again.
Voluntary Declaration of Parentage.
Okay.
Right? Or it could be called an AOP, Acknowledgement of Parentage. Whatever it is in your state, whatever it is in your area. Most men don't know how this works. And they put it on the child support page. It's on the child support page in your state, but we don't know how it works. Right? So that education alone can help men. So let's break that down. How does the VDOP and the AOP work? So the Voluntary Declaration of Parentage is a document at the hospital when the baby is born that both parents can sign. Mom and dad can say, hey, this is our baby. And now that automatically establishes paternity. Men don't have rights until you establish paternity. We have no say, according to the law, we have no say in these children until we establish paternity. Now, there's 3 ways that you can establish paternity.
Okay.
One is if you're married, it is automatically assumed that you have 50-50 custody. It's automatically assumed that, paternity is established. So married couples start out with 50-50 and then they negotiate. The second way is to sign the VDOP or the AOP. If you sign the VDOP or the AOP, that establishes paternity because both of you agree that this is your child collectively. The third way is petitioning the courts for paternity and related relief. It may be something else in the other states, but you have to petition the courts for paternity and whatever else they call it on their form. But most times it's going to be related relief.
Great. One question. Let me jump in here because this just popped in my head. So, the mother gives birth, they give her the sign, and I have to sign. What am I? Is that the birth certificate or is that the VOD?
VDOP.
VDOP. What am I signing when that baby first comes out? I get that paperwork. Is that considered the birth certificate?
So there needs to be a standard. That's another thing that we need to fight for as men. But right now, we don't know what that hospital has that you're signing.
That's crazy.
Right? So you could be signing information for the birth certificate. But understand that birth certificate is only a fiduciary responsibility to that baby. That does not give you any rights.
Wow. Whoa.
The birth certificate gives you no rights. That is a fiduciary responsibility. So she can take that birth certificate, take it down to the child support agency, and say, "Hey, this that baby dad." And now you are on the hook with child support. But
That's
you
how it
have no
works.
right. Because remember, the child support agency has nothing to do with parenting time. It is all about the money. All right. So this is what we need to lobby for also in hospitals so it can be a standard across the board. But in some hospitals, they won't ask you to sign the paperwork. If mom says you can be on that birth certificate, then you can be on it. Look, a baby, it's a lot of
Wow.
You have to be educated on the information and how it's being handled. So at the hospital, they have no requirement to dads, and you need and the brother here, the basement just said you do need to sign. You need to read this before you sign it. You need to be educated before you sign anything. Because remember, she can also say, "Hey, this is his baby," and it might not be yours. And if you sign that VDOP, you have a certain time limit to go and get that annulled. And if you don't, then you're on the hook for that baby until you address it.
So let me
we have to be educated before we have a baby.
Let me address my guy Rob. Shout out my guy Rob from What We Know podcast with the $4.99 super chat. He says my favorite duo from Memphis. Rob, man, we appreciate you, brother, for the support. Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. So one of the questions I had, and this it's a lot, bro, because I've gone through a lot, right? So when I first was put on child support, I was actually still married, right? And the way our formula works down here is time spent with child, aka overnights, insurance, and both incomes to determine how much you're gonna pay, right? So that in turn, right. So they put me at what was it, 980, and then 25 for the arrears. So it put me at a whopping 1,020, well, close to 1,025. Why would you do that? And what happened was I got hit with $27,000 back pay, and we were split, not divorced. We were split for 3 years, and I didn't understand the questions that they were asking me, and I had a lawyer. I had a lawyer, a black woman that worked for the DHS, the Department. And I thought I was in good hands. We're gonna get your child support to 500. We ain't gonna go to we're gonna. I'm like, okay, we got a game plan, right? I got my receipts, I got my bank statements, I got all that, right? And he hit that gavel. And first of all, he said first he talked to her because he knew her, right? They had a conversation. They knew each other, right? Then he banged the gavel and hit that number, and I was so shocked, bro. It was like. And then he gave me credit for being a good father on top of all of it, because I had been, but he only confirmed that I had 85 days a year with my dad, which is just bullshit.
That's horrible.
How does that happen?
So think about what you just said. You got railroaded too, right? And look at the number of overnights that you had, 85. Look at that in the correlation with 365 overnights. That's nowhere near 180. That's why your number was where it is. And did you have the baby on your insurance?
I did have her on my insurance.
So you had the baby on your insurance.
And they told her, because they asked her and she said yes. And do you have a card to prove it? She was like, no. They gave her time to produce the card.
So that still goes back to what we're talking about. Those 3 things are the most vital things. The overnight, How far did you live from the baby? How far did you live from her?
About 20 minutes, not far at all.
In mileage, you can't give minutes on the documentation.
I would say about 25 miles, maybe.
So your lawyer did you a disjustice or disservice by not actually approaching the actual parenting plans that the states try to enforce on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would, there's no reason why. Was there any detriment to the child? No detriment to the child, and so the dad only gets 85 overnights. That's illogical to me. That makes no sense to me. And here's why I say that, and I hope women are listening. This is why that's illogical to me, right? The statistics show that when moms have 50-50, when moms share 50-50 access, they have higher paying jobs. Mm-hmm. They have better mental health. Mm-hmm. They have more education.
Because what?
Okay.
They have the time to do these things, right?
So it's beneficial to them to do it as well.
It's beneficial to them, right?
Okay, keep going.
If we have these things in mom's favor,
mm-hmm.
then there's a trickle down effect to it, right? This is better for the child because mom is healthier for the child. Mom's mind is in the right place for the child. Mom's physical health is in the right place for the child. This is what the stats show, right? So that's just the mom side. It is beneficial to mom for 50-50 because mom can have me time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Go get your hair done. Go get your nails done. Go have a spa day. Do whatever you need to do for you to make sure you are in the right space for our child. But that's moms, right?
Let me before you go further. I want to get your opinion on this saying that I pushed. What you just said just hits it, right? What do you think about this saying? We in the Black community, we've convinced ourselves that there are more men that don't care about their children than there are women that would take advantage of what the state gives them.
Oh, absolutely.
And what you just said is even more of a reason to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. So we're living on this narrative. There's a narrative that, hey, dads just don't want to be there for their children. That's the narrative. But the stats show that that's false.
Right.
That's absolutely false. But let's go deeper into the statistics, right? So those are the stats for the moms. Moms are better off. Moms that have 50-50 will tell you they are better off than the single moms who are trying to do it all themselves. The 80-20 moms, the moms that are stressing themselves out, the moms that will say they can't do everything but don't want the dad to help them. The stats will show that. Right? So then let's go into deeper into. We'll put dads last. We'll go into the children. We'll go into the children. Right? The stats show that when the children have 50-50 access to mom and dad, the children have better behavioral habits. The children have better reading habits. The children are less likely to experiment with drugs. The children are less likely to, go into the detention centers. The children are more likely to graduate high school. The children are more likely to go to college. It's statistically proven that once we share this access, it is better for both mom and the baby.
But fathers don't want their kids, sir.
That's the narrative that they're going to paint because they have to paint that narrative in order to keep the financial gain going. Title 4D. They will tell you, and the stats will show that every dollar that they collect in child support, the government gives them another dollar. They match it.
Wow.
And so now that's the incentive to collect child support.
So, Greg, when we say that the child support system is not about the child, it's about the money, we was dead on.
You're dead on. It's absolutely right. It's about the money. Because if you do 50-50, there's no money involved. So they can't collect a dollar. And then there's no incentive from the government. Right? Well, now, so we got to moms and the dad. I mean, moms and so the stats for dads. The dads, are less likely to commit suicide. The dads, have more access to the children. The dads, they're more role models. Dads have more resources, right? Once 50-50 is shared. So it behooves everybody involved when the child has access to both parents. Yes, we couldn't get along, but that does not have anything to do with that child. That baby needs access to both of us, and the stats show that it is better off for the child when the child has access to both.
Right. Mm-hmm. So Greg, first, Hink, I want to give a shout out to Hink for the $5 super chat. He said these conversations are needed. And Hink, bro, like, that's why we were so excited, because our children have rights. The organization is something that more and more men got to start becoming a part of, got to start looking up, because I told CJ offline, brother, if you knew this stuff before your situation went down, you would be in a whole nother situation.
Nigga.
That's right.
Nigga, I'd be in a three-story house and some other shit. Like,
that's right. That's right.
Yo, I got a question about the name, real quick.
Go ahead.
Was that name strategic? Because I felt like as if you had a name that's something like fathers deserve their rights to see their children, that it wouldn't have been as received as our children have rights. Was that a reason why you did that?
Yes, it is very strategic. So I need us parents to understand that it is not about mom or dad. I'm not coming down on either parent, right? It is about the child. And that child has the right to have access to both parents. It's about the child. And so it was very strategic. I didn't want it to be all the way left. I didn't want it to be all the way right. I wanted it to be right down the middle and let both parents know that the child deserves the right to have access to both parents. I mean, moms come to us as well. I had a mom from Wales reach out to me the other day. And she was talking about, how she was being alienated. And my whole thing is, this is a disservice to that baby. Like, how can we, have a model citizen? How can we, build our communities when our children are being targeted with some of these laws and these processes that are put in place? It makes no sense to me. And so we have to protect these children, and we start at home with the parents.
So our next question that we have is, what's more important, finances or documentation when it comes to fight for custody?
Well, finances are a part of the documentation.
Okay.
They're a part of the documentation. So you want to document everything.
Right.
I don't care what it is, document, right? Your finances, you're going to have to, have financial statements. You're going to fill out a financial affidavit if you've gone through it, you've seen it, the financial affidavit, right? So that is just as important as everything else. So you have to have documentation for everything, but you want to start with the documentation for those three things that I told you about. What is the distance from the two parties? Is that baby on your insurance? What is the overnights? And then once you address those, then they will put in the actual financial affidavit and look at the finances and come up with a whole calculator and say, okay, well, this is what, the support obligation is.
So great. I got a follow-up question to that question. Now, I've talked to brothers numerous times about this, where they send money, but they send it as, hey, I'm just trying to keep it quiet, and they don't have a receipt. It's cash or it's something like that. Talk to them, because I know this is something you done heard numerous times, bro.
If you send that money like that, young man, that is a gift to the court.
Come on.
That is a gift. You have to have documentation for everything. Matter of fact, I say don't send anything until there is a court order for you to send what needs to be sent, and it goes through the child support office. But there will be what they call an IWO, an income withholding order. and you want them to go ahead and take that thing up out your check so you ain't got to worry about it. And it goes right to the state.
That's how I get
and,
it, yeah.
And you ain't got to worry about paying it every month because you don't want to be behind. Because then once you get behind, then they're going to talk about suspending your license. They're going to talk about throwing you in jail. They're going to talk about all the other things that they can do to you to make it harder on you. You want that IWO, go ahead and let them get a little bit of change and then be done with it. But you need to address that with your documentation before they come with the IWO. Do not, under any circumstances, give cash. Because that is a gift. If you don't have any receipts, that is a gift. Do not give anything without those with document.
So it's not a rumor, right? Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
because when we say it, they swear we making this shit up, right?
No, it's not at all. If you give cash or you give anything that can't be recorded and documented and be upheld in the court, bro, you just gave that away.
Wow,
facts. So we want to shout out my guy Ishmael Robinson. He was just on the show for the last episode we did talking about the deadbeat dad. And I think he's going to want to come up here and ask a couple questions himself. So we'll probably bring him on soon. But I want to shout you out for that $20 super chat. I got something for you, bro. We got to work on this new Cash App song or whatever song. But we're gonna go with this one for right now.
The celebration, bitches. Correct. The celebration, bitches.
I love it.
Okay. Got Hank with another one. What you think about that?
Put yourself on child support. No. Don't do that.
Oh.
Not a good idea.
I've always been told you should do
me
that.
Too. Yep, me too.
So here's why you don't do that. Child support does not, if you go directly to the child support office, they do not care about time support. They do not care about the overnights. They do not care about the parenting time. And they do not care about the insurance. They only care about the money. Right? So in order for you to get a fair judgment, you need to calculate those things that are in the child support calculator. Okay. The child support office does not calculate the other two things. They don't calculate the overnights and the insurance. They only calculate what you made. So they'll take your money and her money from the affidavit, from the financial affidavit, and say, "Hey, this is what y'all made. This is what the baby need. We done." They don't care how much. They don't care how much that baby see you. So the actual child support agency, child support, and parenting time and court order, that's two different things, two separate things. You don't want to go and put yourself on child support and you're not getting the full calculation of everything that all your contributions to the calculator. So no, don't put yourself on child support. Go through the courts.
I think he's saying he did do what you said, so that's what he did beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Okay. Yeah, don't go down there to that child support agency, man. All they want to know is, matter of fact, it's even worse if you go to the child support agency. You go down there, they want to know where you work at. Yep. They want to know what you make. They want to know your social, so they can go right to your employer and say, "Hey, we need this money." They will take it right up.
So let me ask you this. This is a question I really wanted to ask because I think in my situation I was this is what I feel. This is all feelings. I can't prove it.
Don't tell me what you feel, brother. Tell me what you think now.
Okay, so
I don't get involved with feelings because feelings cloud your judgment. Your emotions gonna cloud your judgment. Tell me what you think.
So yeah, what I think happened is I got somewhat of an okay deal because I was married. So the next question I have is there a difference when it comes to being a baby daddy and an ex-husband when it comes to getting custody and a fair ruling and child support?
Absolutely. And think about the process, right? We have to establish paternity first. So if you're married, they automatically assume that is your child and that is the mother's child. So paternity is already established. So married fathers have more of a leg to stand on because paternity is
even more of a reason to have your child in wedlock, fellas. Even more of a reason. Go ahead.
Correct. So if you're married, that gives you more rights, right? So now if you're married, now you have the opportunity to negotiate, and all you need to negotiate is the parenting time. And then now you get right back into that actual process. Hey, how far do I live from the other party? Is the baby on my insurance instead of hers? I need to fight for the overnights. And once you get the overnights in your favor, then you have a favorable outcome.
They will keep the kids away from you just to keep that number down.
They will. And
They
so
will do that.
the way you combat that is you
Come
understand
on.
the law and you educate it on the process. And so you let the courts know, hey, there's no detriment for that child having access to me, right? Because what they're
Mhm.
gonna say is it is in the best interest of the child. But,
Mhm.
but look,
Yep,
judge,
that's what they say. Yeah.
judge, there's no detriment here. There's no abuse. There's nothing that you can actually hold on to claim detriment. So there's no reason why 50-50 shouldn't be achieved, even if it has to be a step-up plan.
Hmm.
Right? You can give me a plan to where I'll see the baby 1 day a week, and then the next 3 months it's 3 days, and then the next 6 months it's the 50-50. Because what they'll want to
Yep.
say is, oh, the baby don't know you. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into that plan. And whatever you want to, whatever we need to do, as long as it ends up at 50-50, cool. But I'm not settling for anything less than that.
Come on now.
Anything less than that.
Now, great. I wanted to hit on something. Well, first, let me do this shout out to Ricky Webster for the $9.99 super chat. Another long time supporter, and he trying to get CJ a little money toward his fish plate. I had
I
wings
appreciate
tonight,
it, bro.
so.
The celebration! Bitches! Correct. It's a celebration, bitches!
That's funny
Now-
every time.
Now I know we got a question, and I want to shout out. That's my brother. He dealing with a situation himself.
Mhm.
But before we get to this question, you mentioned something that is very key: emotion.
Mhm.
When you dealing with your child, when you dealing with a baby mama or a lady you just slipped up with,
Mhm.
how do you take your emotion out of it? Because I know brothers that's like
It's
they
hard.
can't help
It's
it.
hard.
Yes.
It's
So
hard.
what advice would you give a brother? How do you take yourself out of the emotion of it?
Mhm. Brothers, if I had anything to contribute to that, it would be, listen, this is all business, nothing personal.
Ooh.
All business, nothing personal. I'm trying to save my child's life, our child's life right now. The stats already show when our child has the access to me, our child is better off for it. So I'm going to save our child's life. This is all business, nothing personal. I'm not gonna let my emotions get involved in it. I'm here to handle business. I'm here to conduct this business. So anything that you have emotional, that roller coaster that you're going on, that's irrelevant to the process that we're trying to conduct right now. This is all business. I have no room for your emotions. All business, nothing personal. That's what I would give to these brothers when they start letting their emotions get into play. This is about accountability. We got to be accountable, and we got to handle this business.
I got hopefully if he ain't being hard headed, because he like to be hard headed with that big ass head. I got a partner that I used to play football with that's going through some situations right now, right? And I told him there's a few ways you can kind of establish custody. Like one way is just actually telling the courts that you have custody. I know that's not the smartest way, but that's what a lot of our women will do. They'll just go down there, file for child support, and they'll be assumed to have the role of custody. And I told him, but I'm not a professional, so I told him to watch this show. And what he told me, it kind of hurt my heart a little bit, because it's kind of how I was. It was like he didn't want to go for full custody or anything like that, because he didn't want to take the kids away from the mother. And it's like, I get that, because I felt the same way, but they're going to do it to you.
That's right.
Like
So
that's what's going to happen. Go ahead.
Again, it's what do you want, Dad? What do you want, non-custodial parent, right? So if you want the 60-40 plan or the 70-30 plan, then we can negotiate that for you, and we could put things in place for you to have that. It really depends on your schedule and what you want for that access, that child to have access to you, right? So a lot of parents are in different situations, which is why we want to meet them where they are. Right. And so it depends on you and your work schedule and what you really want for your children. If the brothers don't want to take the baby away from the mom, then hey, I get it. Right. But at the expense of what? At the expense of your child suffering from not having access to you. Because that child needs that yin and the yang. That child needs the nurture and the nature. So are you going to sacrifice that child instead of fall on the sword and go ahead and sacrifice it for that child? So this is but everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has their own life to live. Everybody has their own process, and so it just depends on where you are as a parent and what you want to happen for those children. But me, no, gotta have that access. That child needs to have that access to me, and I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure I protect that child's right to have access.
Okay. So we got the question here. What if you pay child support and the mother is not living with the child?
Well, that goes back to your parenting plan. What does your parenting plan say? Now, do you have a parenting plan? And if you don't have a parenting plan, then that's where you're going wrong already. You could be paying child support. You could be paying child support, but you don't have any documentation, any governance on what should be happening. So if you don't have any governance on what should be happening, then you have no say.
Wow.
Right? So let's say you went down to the child support agency. You paying child support. Mom doing whatever she want to do, or dad doing whatever they want to do. What does the court order say? What does the judge ratified documentation say? And if you don't have that, then you have no say so in anything that's going on. So if mom is doing whatever she wants to do and you're paying child support and you don't have a document that says what we're supposed to do, there's nothing for you to do. You got to go down there and you got to get yourself down to the courthouse and go ahead and establish that parenting plan. And in that parenting plan, it will govern your actions. It will govern what you're supposed to be doing with that child. And if that parenting plan says mom is supposed to be with this child, then that's what's supposed to happen. And if she's not with that baby, now you have the opportunity to file a motion because she's not following the parenting plan. But you have to have that documentation that governs what is supposed to be going on with the baby.
Hold that judge accountable.
That's right. Absolutely right. Once you have that documentation, and if she violates, then you get to go back into the courtroom and say, hey, judge, on this day and at this time, you told us to do this.
So let me ask you this. Guy is, well, I got two questions. Let me ask two. One, would you advise that you, for every situation, would you advise that you go ahead and go get something in order, even if y'all getting along and she cool with what's going on? Would you advise a guy still go down there and get that in order?
So if you two are amicable, which is what we try to coach first. We want parents to be amicable because we want you to handle this out of court. We don't need to give away all this money and all these resources to these people and for them to tell us how to govern our kids. We should be adults and we should be able to come up with a plan for our children ourselves, right? And so the first thing that we want to do is have parents work together to have a plan for their children. And then if you both can do that and you both can agree on that, then we can get that signed and then you can get it notarized and then you can just take it down to the courthouse and have them file that as your actual parenting plan. So you don't necessarily have to have the courts involved. If you parents can be amicable.
Hold on. Can you please run that back one more time? And I'm gonna give you the solo screen because I'm gonna make this a damn short. Go ahead.
Yes. If parents are amicable, you two can come up with a plan for your child. And then you can take that plan, and if you both sign it and get it notarized, or what they call sworn to, when you get the documentation sworn to, and then you get it notarized, and you take that down to the courthouse, you can have the clerk of court file that on you two's behalf, and then that can be the governing document for the parents. You don't have to go through the courts. But if you have that documentation that governs what you're doing for your child, then you both can adhere to that documentation because now it's been sworn to and it can be ratified by the courts. So this is what we're going to hold each party accountable with. You don't have to have the courts involved for that. All you have to do is do your documentation, do your paperwork.
I just want to go through everybody's face because look, that's what we're saying. It's the information that needs to be put out here that we just don't know. Like it's the ignorance, right? And people ignorance. Look the definition up. It's not an insult. It just means you don't know. Right?
You don't know.
Right. So the other part of my question, right? So a guy has had a child, right? Let's just matter of fact, let's say the child is on the way. and him and this woman are in turmoil. They just don't get along. So we know what's going to happen next. What should he do right then and there? Like if he know this ain't going to work and he's going to end up down in these courts going through hell, what should be the first step he should take?
Education, 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 education.
Okay.
Learn this process. You know where the road is going. Learn how to get in front of it. If you go and read, brothers, go get the book I showed you. Right. I need you to go get it. Read the book.
Let me put that on the screen again.
Read the book. Understand what it's going to take in order for you to protect that child's rights to have access to you, man. Right? So if you're educated on this and you already have it in mind that you two are not going to work, the first thing that you need to do is either sign that VDOP or have the actual blood test or the paternity test set up as soon as the baby's born.
Or what's the VDOP again, just for people that don't know?
Voluntary Declaration of Parentage or Acknowledgement of Parentage. Okay. And if she doesn't want to sign it, cool. Go take a beeline and go and try to get that paternity test done. So, and if she doesn't want to do it, you go ahead and file a motion to establish paternity, and then you can have a judge order her to do it.
And Greg, that's what I was about to ask. I was in a situation before I got married. I was dealing with this young lady. We was in an off and on relationship, and she told me that she was pregnant, but she was dealing with another guy. And my whole mindset was, let's figure out who this is. And she kept pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. And at this time, I was a way nicer guy than I am now. And I was just letting it roll until she finally told me that the baby wasn't mine. But I didn't even push for a paternity test. So we can actually have a right to do that? Like, how do we even set that up?
So look, man, this is about that accountability. And you have to be educated in order to hold people accountable. She didn't want to face the fire. That's what you're saying. She didn't want to face up to her ambiguities, right? But that has nothing to do with me and nothing to do with you. We're gonna handle our business anyway. We're gonna go ahead and put this process together. We're gonna understand this process. We're gonna go ahead and put our business together and understand that, hey, this is what we need to do. And if you want to combat any of that, then I already have the counter move for it. Just like basketball, right? You come down here. I want to come down here and post up. If I turn over the left shoulder and you go over the left, I'm gonna get you a shimmy and go over the right. I got a counter for it.
Yeah.
Right. And if I come over the left shoulder and you there, then I'm gonna go ahead and step through and lay it up. I got a counter for everything that you want to do. But you got to be educated on the game enough to be able to counter. That's all this is. Learning the game, learning how the rules work, and then moving the pieces in your favor. That's all you got to do. But you got to be educated on how the game works. Understand? Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chase.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I think for a lot of men, bro, we just are so passive. We just, oh, man, the course will figure it out, or she ain't got no ill intent. Not even knowing that she might not have ill intent, but we deal with a system that got ill intent because it's not about the child.
That's right. The laws.
And go ahead.
Go
ahead.
No, I was going to say, law, she's already inheriting the win on her side. She's already inheriting the law on her side. Yep. So they're
going to educate her. When she goes down there, she's getting a full education, bro.
That's right.
Like she doesn't have, and if she don't get it from them, which she will, she gonna get it from mom and them, auntie. Them. Like they're gonna tell her how to do this. Like that's where we're lacking at. You know what I'm saying?
So even to piggyback on that. We're not gonna gloss over that. That's really important.
Okay.
Even that, right? When the baby's had, mom has resources for her mental health. Mom has stuff for postpartum. Mom has a lactation assistant. Mom has all these resources in there. But when it comes time to sign the paperwork, it's mom and then whoever the other person is. It don't say dad on the documentation. It says whoever that other person is. It could be anybody else in the world.
Wow.
There's no resource for men, especially in the hospitals.
You know what? You know what? Hold on. That I think this is a perfect time to play this clip I had. So Tez, if you'll do me a favor and drop everybody down, I'm gonna play this clip right quick. Just drop them down so it can be a clear space.
All right.
No. I mean, like, actually remove them off the
Remove them. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah. Because I want it to be a clear screen. Let's go.
What happened between you two? I mean, we was good for a while, and then Viv and Phil started getting rich. Well, Phil started getting rich, and then all of a sudden, I wasn't bringing in enough money.
Mom said you was always trying to find an angle, scheming and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, she would put it all on me, like, you know, because she never does no wrong. Truth is, she's the one that put the pressure on me to hustle.
So it was her idea to rob and beat that old man half to death.
Nigga, she pushed me on my back 24/7, 365 on my back, bro. Then her ungrateful ass never appreciate anything I've been.
Watch your mouth talking about my mom.
You wanna know the truth, boy?
What's up?
Being with your mama was the worst mistake I ever made in my life.
Nigga, you better chill the fuck out talking about my mom like that.
Boy, you better back up. Take that bass out your voice.
What's up, man? I ain't scared of your mom ass. Hey,
Damn.
Well, look at that. Look at that. Look at all
What you got to say about it? Yeah, I'm
look
interested.
at all the estrogen and the influence that his mom had on him when dad was having the conversation of what really happened. Right?
Mhm.
Instead of him listening, he went right to defending mom. You ain't listening to nothing this brother had to say.
Mm-hmm.
It caused all kind of conflict because, I mean, I hate to say it for us guys, but we be some bitch ass niggas when we raised by our moms like that because we haven't had that testosterone. We haven't had that male to really correct us and check us on some of this nonsense. And so that estrogen takes over because that's what we know. And that's why a lot of us are in jail because we are estrogen filled. We don't know how to handle this as men.
Come on, man.
But y'all go ahead, man. Go ahead. I see you guys. Don't let me get on my soapbox, man.
After this question, we're gonna get my brother Ishmael in. Go. DeAndre Lindsay says, one more question. I stay 2 hours away from my child. How many overnights should I have?
What state? Well, it depends on the state. And so what the state will try to do is put you into this cookie cutter plan, right? So the state will say, you know, hey, if you live within this amount of miles, you can have a better aptitude or a better opportunity to have 50-50. Then outside of that amount of miles, then it becomes a long distance plan. And then that's when a lot of parents get into that every other weekend plan because you are outside of 50 or whatever mileage that state will claim. And then once you go outside of that, you're really at the state's discretion. You know, whatever they think you should have, whatever that judge think you should have is, you know, where it's going to be. And so a lot of times, you know, the judges have too much discretion. And so they do whatever they think should be the right thing to do. So it is imperative for you, young man, to address that distance and do the best you can to get inside that actual mileage that can get you the access that child needs to have to you.
Gotcha.
Okay. Ishmael, what up, bro?
Go ahead, brother.
How y'all doing?
What's going on, bro? Good to see you again. Good to have you back up here. And I know you got some questions and some statements, brother. So shoot.
My first question, well, he answered a lot of questions because like I went through the court system too, as we talked about on the last podcast. And I literally had to hold my tongue because I'm like, they really fucking me with an ass with a broom with no Vaseline. Like they asked me, like I said, they asked me questions, and I'm like, why they asking me these questions? They asked me questions like, do you give her money hand-to-hand transaction? Meaning, she say I need $100, do you give it to her? I was like, I've never have and I never will. They was like, why? I was like, because if she asks me what she needs the money for, I'm gonna say why. She'll tell me my daughter needs diapers. I will go out and buy diapers.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I would go out and buy clothes. I would go out and buy shoes. I would try, or even have my mama, or at the time my ex-girlfriend, go get the stuff and give it to her. Then they was saying, they calculated my income, and at the time I was traveling on the road, so it was like $3,000 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And they used her income, which was nothing.
That's how they
So
get you right there.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's that. And then I asked them, if we gonna do this, I want my daughter from Sunday to Sunday. Meaning I get her Sunday night. I keep her for 7 days? Pretty much 6.5, 7 days.
Don't go by
She
the days,
get
go by
her.
the overnights. Go by the overnights. Don't go by the days. Go by overnight. Go ahead.
Well, you get it. Sunday night, I keep her
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, drop her back off Sunday night.
I got you.
So I was gonna get her literally 2 weeks out of a month. She said it's not stable enough. I told them, I was like, my baby mama does not have stable foundation. She sleeps in her dad's house. She sleeps in her mama's house. She sleeps in her girlfriend's house, her boyfriend's house, not to mention she does drugs. At the time, I was staying with my grandma, but I was working, and I had a daycare I could have put my daughter in. At that time, I was even trying to get her to let me put my daughter on insurance. She never wanted to give me the birth certificate. She never wanted to give me the social security card. None of that. So the judge was like, basically what the judge said, because I really can't remember verbatim, but they was like, you are the stable income, so your finance is gonna cover what she lacks in. It was something like that. And when the woman said that, I had to literally bite my tongue because I literally went home. I was mad.
Contempt of court.
Yeah, because it was gonna be contempt. And so they was Bogart, and I wanted to know, like, I brought receipts, I brought this, and it still wasn't enough. So how would I have combated all of it? Because I ended up still paying $487 child support plus 17 to the rear, and I started with 13,000 in the rear. I told her my situation. She was sleeping with other men while sleeping with me. So the doubt was already there. I told her, which I probably should have told her to go get a DNA test. I probably should have bought one myself. And that's another question I want to ask, because my brother's going through this. So I should have probably done that, and then we moved from there.
Mm-hmm.
So it like thinking about this a lot.
Make sure you line up the question. Yeah, make sure you line up.
Let me help you out here, brother. I can go through your whole case. It ain't gonna take you but about 10 minutes. First thing that you got to do is we don't talk when we go into a courtroom. They're not gonna respect the black man anyway. But we don't talk when we go into a courtroom. Your documentation got to be on point, right? So you went in trying to tell them the story where your documentation needs to paint that narrative.
Okay.
Right? That's the first thing that we did wrong here. The second thing is, how far do you live from her? And if you tell me that's within 50 miles, then we have something to fight with in order to get that 50-50.
It is.
Right? And so then now, once we go from there, is the baby on your insurance?
I don't have her social security. She will never give me her social security number.
Did he freeze?
Yeah, I think I froze.
Okay, there you go.
No, so is the baby on your insurance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the baby's on your insurance. Now,
No. If she's not, because my insurance, I have to have my child's social security number.
So she kept the information from you.
She's still keeping it from me.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so now, what we need to do, did you establish paternity?
Yes, through the court system.
So if you establish paternity, don't ask her for nothing. Get your documentation, get the birth certificate and the actual paternity that you established with the documentation, and go down to the Social Security office and you get that social yourself. Don't ask her for nothing. And then once you get that social, you put that baby on your insurance. And then when you go back to the court, you tell the judge, look, I got the baby on my insurance. I have a fiduciary responsibility to this baby that I'm already taking up. Now we're changing the narrative now. I'm responsible for this baby because I've been responsible for this baby. You didn't have to tell me to do this. I did it myself. So proactively, I'm financially responsible for this baby because she's on my insurance. Now, there's no detriment. Nobody's beat on this baby. The baby ain't got nothing, no other reason than what she said or why the baby can't be with me. Now, Judge, this is what I'm asking for. And what I want you to do is ask for the max. And let them walk you back to what you really want.
It's and like what CJ said with his partner. Because from what I get, basically you want me, like, it's basically me asking for custody of my child.
Yeah.
And I get it, because at the end of the day, once you get her pregnant, your rights are done. She's already the custodial parent.
No. I'm not gonna let you stay. I'm not gonna let you go with that narrative and that misconception. You do have rights. You just have to be able to go and address them and go and get them.
Okay.
You have rights, and that child has the right to have access to you. But you have to know how to navigate this process to go and establish those rights. See, they inherit them.
Yeah.
We have to go ahead. We got to go get them.
Can I ask a question right quick to the to brother? So exactly how does your organization? What's up, baby girl? how does your organization actually help guys with this situation? How does that go?
So our Children Have Rights is a site to where, we're a nonprofit organization, and the way we have it is, we have a website, and you can come to our website and you can get all the information that you want. We have all 3 pillars on the website: education, mental health, legal aid, and documentation review, right? So we have that all laid out for you. If you don't want to speak to us, cool. Information is there. You can pick it up and move on. But in the event that you need to get to somebody and walk you through this process, we have our initial questionnaire or our contact information there to where you can reach out to us, and then we will get the details on your case and then walk you through the process. That's how we're helping to protect children's rights to have access to both parents equally. And really, the questionnaire is really only about 3 things: paternity, insurance, overnight. Have you established paternity yet? If you haven't established paternity, we don't have anything to talk about. You got to go take a blood test, or you need a VDOP or AOP, because before you do that, you have no say so in anything that's going on. You have to start there. Your baby mama said you trash. Your baby mama done dropped that baby off in a onesie. Your baby mama done spit in your face. Your baby mama done did everything to you. That has nothing to do with you handling your business. You have to establish that paternity first. And then once you establish that paternity, now we have legal grounds to go ahead and finish and go through the process. So now that you have paternity, let's go ahead and establish that parenting plan. What does the parenting plan say? Now you can negotiate once you're ready to start the parenting plan. What do I want in that parenting plan? I want 50-50. I want 60-40. I want 70-30. Whatever you want in that parenting plan, now we can start to negotiate with that. Because that is going to
negotiate from.
That's right. That's going to be the document that we can hold legally binding for everybody involved. And I'm talking about the judges, the guardian ad litem, the anybody that wants to do any social work, DCF, DHS, anybody has to be held accountable by that actual court order. Because now we have a standard set. And if anybody violates that, then we can go back and hold them accountable through the judge. See, so all this stuff that you're talking about, she said this and she did that, man, that ain't got nothing to do with us. But if she does anything to violate anything that you have in writing in an order, get back down there to them. Get back down there to them to that judge. And frame it like this also, right? Judge, you told her to do this, or judge, you told him to do this. This is a direct violation of what you said, not me.
Come on.
You told us to do this, and they violate what you said. Now, judge, this is what the law say we should do. This is what I say what we should do. But what you gonna do about it?
He's on fire.
And then you sit back in your chair and you don't say nothing else.
Ooh-wee.
And your paperwork say all that for you. There's no reason for us to talk in the courtroom.
And see, what you talking about is so unfamiliar to brothers because they don't understand how to place themselves in a position to even negotiate.
That's right. Because the first thing we're going to say is we don't bother with the police. We don't bother with courts.
We don't want to.
We don't
And or pride.
Yeah, we don't deal with it. But we have to if we are going to protect our children's rights to have access to it. We got to learn this game.
It's the wording for me.
Because he said it himself. He was like, he looked at his situation and was like, am I going to fight for this or am I going to lay down and take it? A lot of men would take that on the chin every day. They'll take it.
Yep.
And see, and here's the problem with just taking it, right? We're not learning if we just sitting down and taking it. We're not sharing that information. We're not getting to the other men who are going through this. So we don't need to just sit down and take it. We need to deal with it. And even if we come out on the wrong side of dealing with it, we know what not to do. Because there's two ways to learn. You can learn what to do and what not to do. But if you don't go through this process, then I don't know what not to do. But if you go through it and you're successful, now I know what to do.
Yeah.
We need both sides of those stories. But we can't just sit down and just let this happen to us. We have to go through the process. We have to figure this out. And once we figure it out, we can do two things. We can do one or two things, tell us what to do and what not to do. But that information is imperative to the process.
So Greg, I think we about to have another brother come on, but I wanted to get your opinion on this. Why do you feel like so many brothers?
Don't tell me about your feelings.
Okay, you right. You right. Why do you think so many brothers just don't just be like whatever? Like I think Isaiah hit on it. May be pride, it may be miseducation, it may be I don't feel like I got a chance. Why do you believe men have this issue?
Self-preservation. Self-preservation.
Yeah,
Wow.
We don't have the time and the resource to continue to go through this, so we just go ahead and say, hey, go ahead and get what you want, and then I'll figure it out after that. We're not going to be emotionally equipped. We don't think we can handle this because now you're going to drag us through this long process, and we got other things. We got better things to do with our time. We're out here trying to be providers and protectors, and so you're taking away from us being a provider or protector, going through this issue where this should be a given for that baby,
right?
Right. And so we don't have the time. If you don't want to cooperate with that providing and that protecting, then we don't have time to deal with it. We got other things to do because we got to get to the money. We got to get back to work. We got to get back to our family. We got to get back to other things in our community. We got to get back to the other things that we need in order to be a provider or protector. And so in order to preserve that, we go ahead and let the other stuff go, the other little small stuff go.
Man.
And that's a problem. We can't do that. We gotta face that head on because we're missing the lessons in that process.
Before I get Reggie in here, I got this feeling just of how good this show is going and the information that's being put out here. And this is actually a feeling. But I'm thinking there are some guys that want to hit this link, but don't want to put themselves out there. Don't want to hear the quote unquote strategy, don't want to be looked at as the bad guy. What do you say to them guys?
I mean, it's up to them. It's really life or death for your child. Look at the stats. Look at the details. The numbers say, if that baby has access to you, then your baby's going to be more successful. So, do you want to fall on the sword and take that for that baby? Or do you want to continue to preserve yourself and be selfish and let it go? It's up to you, right? So it's accountability. It's accountability. That's what this is. And I didn't even touch on the other reason why men don't do it is because they think they're the financials. They think that we're going to pay a whole lot of money and not get the results that we want, right? But all this is predicated on that person's education. How educated are you on this process? Because if you're educated enough, you can go in and represent yourself.
Okay.
If you have the
Reggie.
information and you know how to read the documentation and decipher the information, you can go in and represent yourself. But a lot of people put a quantitative and qualitative value on it and say we don't have it, and so they check out. And so this information that we're giving them tonight arms them and gives them the opportunity to go ahead and go and fight for themselves.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because the first thing that we want to do is we want to go and get a lawyer, right? We'll get that lawyer $10,000 to just let them handle it.
Yep. Facts.
Instead of learning this ourselves. Instead of learning this ourselves or getting somebody in our community that will go and help us and do this for ourselves, that's really about our children, instead of, going to that person that's just about the money.
All right. Look, man. Damn. Look, this
Damn. So we got to stop being taken advantage of, man. And we're smarter than this, man. We're a resourceful people. We survived all kind of stuff, slavery. We survived. We know better than this. So we got to do better. And I'm going to put it on men first.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
right? We got to look at that person in the mirror and be accountable to that person first. And then you can hold everybody else accountable. But until you do that, we're going to keep getting railroaded, keep getting taken advantage of. Our communities are going to keep being the way they are. We're going to keep seeing young men out here with their pants down behind their ass. We're going to keep seeing our music look the way it looks until we do it.
Come on, man.
And hold ourselves accountable.
Damn.
Michael Jackson said it best. Look at the man in the mirror.
Yes, sir.
Look, man, hold on.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Damn.
One more time. Hit it one more time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Only on the 5100 podcast. Look.
Yes, sir.
And I want to make this clear before I get Reggie in there. I'm gonna get Reggie to ask this question. But I this is a challenge that I got to the spaces that we're in, right? We see a lot of drama in the spaces. We see a lot of back and forth in the spaces. Our numbers are decent. They should be better. Because what we're doing right now, what we're putting out here right now, the information that this brother's coming here to drop right above me. This man is dropping gems. This man is telling you how to get this done in a legal way. He ain't telling you to go get somebody to beat up the baby mama. He ain't doing that like that. That's the advice I got back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's going about putting us on information the right way, and you guys not even in here supporting like you should be. You know what I'm saying? I want to pose that though.
And these will be the same brothers me and CJ done had one-on-one conversations with. We done put our arms around them and hey, bro, it's gonna be all right. This the show that you need to be tuned into because, like I said, man, we don't just talk this. We live this, Greg. And I know you do too, brother. So it's one of these things where it's like, we got the resource right here. Come be a part of it.
And it's free.
Facts.
It's free.
I'm not charging you anything for it.
Go ahead, Reggie.
Reggie, you got your question?
Golly, hey, you know what? That ironclad contract for your kids, that's some real gems, bro. I never, out of everything I always been told, that's something that I never have been told in my life. Like getting it documented and signed and sealed and delivered. So just in case the woman want to start acting like an asshole, you can just throw that paper out there. Like that's some.
Now,
instead of you trying to cover your money and and being a businessman, you can sit here and save your children's lives in your own pockets and keep your children intact with the father. I never heard that, man. I thank you for that, man. Real talk.
You're welcome, and it's a process that I had to learn the hard way, right? I tell people all the time, I did this for you. I did this for us.
Yes, sir.
Right? I got my ass kicked. I've been through a situation where the woman claimed domestic violence on me, and I didn't know how to fight back. I've gone through any and everything that
restraining orders. Come on.
I've seen it, right? And so and when I was trying to look for a resource to help us with this, there wasn't one. And so it made sense to me to go ahead and document these things and put the resource out there to help us with this process. And you know what? Maybe my process isn't right for everybody. But I encourage everybody to, you know, hey, if you see something wrong, educate me on it. So we can go ahead and keep educating each other. This is not about, you know, just me telling the story or me giving the information. We have to do better. We as a community got to do better. Right? And we have to hold each other accountable. And so until we do that, then we can't change anything. And so that's what this is about when it comes to our children have rights. It's not about mom or dad, but it's about us holding each other accountable and making sure that we do what's in the best interest for these children.
Right.
Hink.
But I know
Hink, what up, man?
Question, oh, my bad.
Hold on, let me bring Hink in right quick, bro. Well, Hink, what going on, bro?
Man, ain't nothing happening. How y'all doing tonight, fellas?
All right,
great, man.
All right, man.
All good, bro.
Man, I know what you talking about. I would always tell fellas, man, don't ever go in there naked head, man. Don't ever go to court naked head. You should have a lawyer. You should never go in there without a lawyer. I never do it again. I went the first time when I went to establish, you know, put myself on, like I said, child support and establish all that. But ever since, I don't go in there like that no more. And I would encourage no man to do it if he can help. Now, financially, if you can't afford it, I understand. But to me, you got to do what you got to do. If that means you got to get a part-time job just to put all into your legal fees, then do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, it's the betterment for the kid. When I got divorced, I wouldn't worry about the amount of money. I was worried about my visitation rights. Because that's what I didn't want to come up short on. I had to make sure that it was going to be 50-50. You know what I'm saying? Joint custody. Not she's primary, joint. I push that more than anything, than any the residents or cars or the material shit. I made sure that I got everything I was asked for as far as my visitations and rights. So again, guys, I would definitely not go in there without a lawyer.
So let me good
luck with that.
So let me push back on that, right? So I think it depends on the education of the person that's going in there, right? If you're educated to the point to where you can go in and represent yourself, then that's not a problem. But to go ahead and coincide with what you said, you know, you can still use that education to hold a lawyer accountable.
Right.
So it depends on the education that you have and your financials that you have. Some people can't afford a lawyer, like you stated. So I wouldn't say, you know, don't go in without a lawyer. If you can go in with a lawyer, let's go ahead and put you through the process to get you educated, have your mind right, and have your documentation correct. So when you go to the lawyer, you're already prepared and you can tell the lawyer, hey, I need this, instead of just putting it all in that lawyer's hands. And then you can hold that lawyer accountable, and then you can go ahead and go through the court system and hold and protect that child right to have access to you.
You muted him.
Okay. No. That's why I sit there and said you got to educate yourself. I mean, look here. Even a lawyer could be second guess question. You know, nobody's above reproach. Nobody.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to educate. Man,
especially my lawyer. Shit.
Man, I had to know everything. Anything my lawyer did, I needed documentation so I could read word for word for what's going on. But the main reason I had to get a lawyer because, well, I didn't want to go in divorce court without a lawyer. I didn't want to deal with the family courts without a lawyer because you just sitting there getting screwed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know, you know, depending on your person, who you are, you can educate yourself enough, but there's always going to be a loophole that you didn't see, that there wasn't no, you just didn't know about because you just don't know certain questions. There's kind of generic stuff about child support visitation, but there's also something about in certain states, you're entitled to claim your child on taxes every other year. Fellas, y'all need to make sure y'all push for that. Now, that's how it is in Kentucky. I don't know about other states. In Kentucky, I have the right every other year. I claim my child on child support. I mean, I claim my daughter on taxes.
Wow. Okay.
And so piggyback on what he's saying is that actual parenting plan, the documentation of what you want has to be written out in that plan. And that goes into his parenting plan. Hey, I claim the child every other month, every other year. Right. And so that's where, you know, an experienced person who knows what the actual parenting plan looks like knows to look for that. So that's why you have to know the documentation. You have to understand the process of what's going on here. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. You know, if you can get an experience, if you can get a good lawyer, you want to educate yourself and then go in and have that lawyer. A lot of times you can combat some of the cost of the lawyer by doing some of these things yourself.
Yeah.
But you want to have that person, if you don't think you can represent yourself, or a lot of times if you get a lawyer that knows, you know, the court system and knows the judge, you know, that could be an advantage in your favor. So it just depends on who you are and your case. You know, some people don't want to go without a lawyer. Me, I was able to do it without one, but in the interest of, you know, who you are and, you know, figure out who you are in this process. If you think you need a lawyer, get one. You know what I mean? He's absolutely right.
Let me drop one more gem to you guys. Get a female lawyer.
Ooh.
Get a female lawyer. Let me tell you why. They're more sympathetic to them judges. Them judges are more sympathetic to them, and they can't play that sexism. When you come in there, you cross-examine this woman. When you in her, ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. You know, they not gonna take us. No. Get you a female lawyer and let that pit bull go. That's exactly what I did.
I'll push back.
Well, what's your thoughts on that? Yeah, I was gonna ask you what's your thoughts on that.
As well. I had a female lawyer and I got railroaded. My female lawyer agreed with the other side. My female lawyer agreed with my mediator and the child's mom. So that still went back to my education on the process, right? So I wasn't educated on the process and how to hold my lawyer accountable. So I'm not gonna say a female or a man. It goes back to your education. Then you holding whoever your lawyer is accountable. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna do the sexism thing. It's all about the documentation, the paperwork, and the process for me.
So, Greg, I got a question. I got a question right quick. I just had a young brother text me, and he was like, "I want to have a one-on-one, or I want to speak to somebody in the organization." Mm-hmm. How do they reach out to you? What's the process they need to take?
So pull up our website real quick if anybody can. Pull up our website.
I got you.
And I'll walk you through it. But I gotta hear more from the OG though, man. I like to listen to the older fellas. I like to listen to my elders.
I like the fact that y'all having a back and forth about how to get this shit right.
I'm gonna listen to him and then go off of his information because he's the elder, so I'm gonna respect it. But I'm gonna tell him my experience, and then we can figure out how to collaborate and do it the right way. You know what I mean? So
it's crazy because nobody, my mama, my dad, he strayed away from it. But even the men and women in my circle, because it takes a village. Yeah. The village, it sucks because they tell you go put yourself on child support, but like you said, they're not even telling you how to educate yourself to maneuver.
Nope.
Do putting yourself on child support. Like a lot of the stuff that you said, I really don't have a question to because it was answered. Like I should have did it this way.
Hold on.
Like, before we go it's rare that somebody can make me shut up. Like it's rare. So like that's crazy because when I look back on it, he worked and CJ worked with me. It's rare that somebody can give me the shut up without me finding a way to make them look stupid or just just challenge them. I can't challenge nothing because I don't know nothing. And it's like if I knew then what I knew now, man, my baby mom would be buried. I have custody of my daughter.
That's right.
Go ahead.
So
we're on the website now.
I'm going to show you how to get to the contact. Go to the contact tab. And then if you scroll down, you could go down. It's an initial questionnaire. So what this questionnaire does, you can click on it. What this questionnaire does is give me some ideas about what's going on in your case, where you are, how far do you live from the other parent, did you sign the VDOP, or is the baby on your insurance, is there overnights established, anything, whatever, the initial stuff that we need to have done, this questionnaire will answer that. And so that's the first thing that you want to do to reach out to us. And then once I see this, then I can get a great idea of where you are in the process of protecting that child's right to have access to you. So that's the first thing that you want to do as a parent. Reach out and go to that questionnaire.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Now get back to the OG, man. So OG, we were talking about, putting yourself on child support, man. What you think about that? I mean, I'm sorry to take over y'all show, guys.
Hey.
I need information sometimes.
I'm offended. I'm offended by the apology.
The reason why I did what I did, because again, in my state, we got, they can go all the way back, right?
Mhm.
So I had a guy who was dealing with a girl. He said, man, kept saying, man, we all good, we all good. I said, dude, just because you're all good don't mean she's not gonna turn her back and feel some type of way. They end up breaking up. He said, oh, we still good, we still communicate. She ain't put me on child support. Next thing you know, she did. So now he's paying 10 years of back child support. And there's nothing he can do about it.
Right.
He can't fight out. Again, what they tell him, those are gifts.
Yep. What I said
Because
earlier.
he never got custody established.
That's
Because
right.
he went off the general. Everything's all good with us. We're in a good place. No, dog. No, you're not. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. Soon as you get pissed off, you didn't take that trash out. She feels some type of way.
Yep.
You relying on an overly emotional woman. I would never I say it all the time. I would never put my freedom, my livelihood, how I move, how I act, how I carry myself in a woman's hands. That's exactly what a man is doing when he do that. So when I sit there and said, I'll put my cell phone child support, yes, because you're not going to get me for 5, 10, 20 years of back child support. You're not going to do that. We're not doing that. So I'm not going to be paying all that interest. That's not including any interest that she's entitled to. She's entitled to all of that. Now, again, I'm talking about the state of Kentucky. I know different states, you know, I heard some states, they only go back 5 years. Okay, 5 years is a long time. And they base it off not your old salary 5 years ago. They base it off your current salary in 2023. So could you imagine that? I was going from $15 an hour, I'm making $30 an hour. And they taking it from that? That shit was 5 years ago. Why didn't y'all calculate the amount I was making 5 years ago? As long as I could prove it. That's not what happens.
So why not, you know, why not, instead of putting yourself on child support, why not just go ahead and go through the court system and go ahead and getting all the other things that should be calculated in there, calculated? Because, you know, if you go through the child support agency now, they're only going to look at, you know, how much you make and then how much he makes. But if you go through the courts, you know, they're going to calculate, you know, is the baby on your insurance? How many overnights does the child have? So,
well, see,
hold on. Let me ask a question. Let me ask a clarifying question real quick. So when you say courts, you mean juvenile court?
Family court.
Family court.
So okay. So the two areas of battle per se is child support court and family court.
So
which one is juvenile court?
They one in the same.
Child support agency and the family court.
Yeah.
In your state, there's a child support agency that collects child support.
They're all in the same umbrella.
Okay, because in Memphis it is, but they kind of separated with juvenile court and child support services.
Because you can't go down to juvenile court to talk to anybody with child support. You got to go to the east side of Memphis to go talk to somebody with child support. On Mendenhall.
And so that's the child support agency.
Yeah, and that's separate from juvenile court until you get your court date.
So what we're talking about here is you have the child support agency. They might have a depository or something like that in the child support agency. What we're talking about, the difference with that is you have the family court division at the courthouse where you file your motion.
Oh, okay.
That's where the judge hears your actual motion. So there's two divisions of it. You have to get down to the child support family. You have to get to the family court in order to have everything else calculated into your actual income withholding order or actual support obligation, which the child support agency is not going to calculate in there.
I just wanted to get some clarification. Y'all good? Go ahead.
That's what we're talking about here.
No, another reason why I tell guys get like, because first of all, some guys, y'all know how y'all are, man. Y'all see that baby mama, y'all get overly emotional, y'all want to get fired up, frustrated because you got to pay a certain amount of money and you don't know how to contain yourself. So now you acting like that emotional woman instead of acting like a man. Just sit there and hold your ground, do what you got to do. I encourage you to get a lawyer.
$1,000. They told me $1,000, Hank. I was like, that's a third of my check.
And
that's a third of my money.
I'm sure that hair on the back of your neck rolls up. You was pissed. And most people, what do? They speak out. They said, no, man, that ain't fair. Shut the fuck up before you get a contempt of court. And now you got to get this situation.
That's why I said I had to bite my tongue in court like Rich.
Okay, prime example, young blood, get you a lawyer.
So
Sometimes, look, when I had a lawyer, I didn't have to go to court. So I'm not taking vacation days to go down to the courtroom. That's what I pay him for. I'm not missing no time off of work. Now, am I working a part-time job to offset that cost? Yes, I did. But to me, it was worth my sanity. I'm not gonna get myself almost, man, that's heifer, man. She know I've been doing right. All of a sudden, she trying to go. Why she filing for increase? I'll have for her about my new job. Ain't nothing I could do about it. What am I supposed to do?
That's a question I wanted to ask. How do you combat the increase that they ask for? Like
every year, they're entitled to ask it. Every year, once a year, they're entitled to ask.
Every 3. I think it's every 3 years here. It's every 3 years.
So they can actually ask for, because at the end of the day, they expect that your income is gonna get great.
Let me help you out here. In most states, if the increase wasn't 10% or above, they're not going to increase your child support. So you have to know how much the increase was. And now depending on what the state is, but most states, if it's not 10% above what you made the previous year or the previous order to pay, then they're not going to increase. So you have to look at the numbers. So you be careful of how much overtime and all these other things that you work with the W-2 that you have out there.
Wow.
So let me ask you another question.
That's how they got me. That's how they got me.
Like I said, in Kentucky, they're entitled every year to file for increase. Now, at the same time, I can file for a decrease.
That's right.
And that's another question.
That's right.
How did you win those cases?
So for the decrease, go ahead, OJ. Go ahead.
Now, what I was gonna say, unless you lose your job,
got a question on the screen too after that.
So I'll add into that.
Unless you lose your job or something like that, yeah, more likely it won't be decreased.
So lose your job, right? So that is a substantial change in circumstance. Is what they will file in order to adjust the actual support. See, so you have to look at it from the actual motion that you need to file. So if there's a substantial change, something medically, there's a distance change, your finances change, whatever it is in the state that comes to a substantial change in circumstance, you want to read up on that, and then if you have that substantial change, then you can file for a change in your child support obligation. Like you said, if you lose your job, that's a financial change in circumstance, a substantial change in circumstance. You can go file a motion to get your support obligation decreased.
Wow.
That's
so the question, you muted, CJ.
That's what I was going. That's what I was about to read.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You got it.
What to do to get a parent? No, what do you do to get a parent plan if you never went to court for child support?
And he asking it like that because Memphis, I'm telling you, like
Memphis is horrendous with that, bro.
Like they make it like child support is where you're supposed to go.
So you can file a motion. Everybody has the right to face their accuser. You can file a motion to establish paternity, or in some states they will say related relief. But you got to find out where. You can file it at the courthouse, at the family court. The clerk of office at the family court. They got a law. They got a law library there, and every courthouse should have legal aid. So go in and ask legal aid, right? So everybody has the right to go ahead and file a motion to establish paternity and related relief, or whatever they call it in your state. So if you have child support and there's no parenting plan, go down to the courthouse and go establish your parenting plan. And once you have your parenting plan established, they override the child support office.
Ooh.
The courts override the child support office. So if the court gives you an IWO, which is an income withholding order, and it is substantially lower than what is at the child support agency, they will issue that to the child support agency themselves, and then they will have to honor that. They will have to honor that amount. So it is imperative that you get down to the courthouse, because the child support agency does not calculate the other issues that are being addressed. They don't calculate the overnights. They don't calculate the actual insurance. All they calculate is how much you made and how much she made, the financial affidavit, and that's what the child support calculate. That's what the child support office is going to go off of. So that's why you want to go to the courts and say, hey, I have the financial aid, and I have the financial affidavit, but I also have insurance on this baby. I also want to establish the overnight because the child support agency is calculating off of 0 overnights.
Oh man, so you don't even get zero quick.
Child support agency and the courts are 2 separate entities. The child support agency cares nothing about your overnights. They care nothing about your insurance. Now, just to back that up, OG, am I right?
Yes, sir.
See?
So that's so they basically just confirming what they got from the courts. Like, oh, okay,
No,
here's the parent. Okay.
They don't even take it from the courts. They will go directly to your employer and take it from them.
Okay.
Wow.
They will take it out your check. Because in order for you to even address, so if she goes down to the child support agency and says, I got this birth certificate. This is baby. The child support agency will do everything else. They will take that information and they will start to reach out and they will say, okay, we got this information. You know, as long as you got that in your address, they'll take that and they'll serve you paperwork.
Right.
And they will say, hey, you got 20 days to respond. And in order for you to respond, when you call in to respond or you send information for you to respond, you got to give them where you work at. You got to give them your social. You got to give them your address. You got to give them all the information before they even hear your case. And if they got that information, they're going to go directly to where you work at to take that money out your check.
Wow.
Unless you have a lawyer.
And
then you won't have to worry about that.
Now you're getting back into the court. Now you're going back to the courts.
Yeah.
That's why you want to get into
the
court.
But I see the parallel though between what both of y'all are saying.
Right.
What Nick is saying is, it's not wrong. It's just like it's a different way to skin a cat, basically.
Yep.
And it helps you if you know the information yourself to even to let you know if this lawyer is even worth paying anymore. Because
that's right.
If she don't know what you know, don't pay her. It's like ridiculous.
So y'all, look, we getting ready to wrap, but we gonna do final thoughts. So Hank, we'll get you in first with the final thoughts, brother. Number one, man, thank you so much for hopping on, it being in the chat, and even being able to give more information about this situation. Because I ain't never been through it, and I hope I never go through it. But if I do, I got knowledge, and now that I got that knowledge, it's something that you really should apply and really think about. So everybody that even watch this, man, I like CJ, bro, you really hit it on the head, man. We know so many brothers that needed this tonight that didn't show. But we gonna put it in their face. We gonna do a whole lot of clips, whole lot of shorts, because you might not want the medicine, but bro, we gonna give you access to it tonight. So Hank, final thoughts.
Well, the good thing about it, man, they can always go to the replay. And you just, I'm texting them the link. I'm putting it on their page, whether it's on Twitter, IG, whatever the case may be, man. But as far as men, man, let me say this. If you can have some type of cordial conversation with this woman that you have a child with, and y'all could come up to some type of financial agreement, like my man said, it will hold up in court long as you get it notarized. Judge can sign it. Child support don't have to never get involved. Now the ex don't have to wait a week and a half before she gets that check. She gets it instantly as soon as you pay her. She don't have to worry about the interest being accumulated by the other court system, and that's how they gain some of their money. You got to worry about
Make it sound good to him, Hank. Make it sound good to him.
You could have a cordial conversation, a grown person conversation. Now, I know it may be hard, and you may have to bend a knee and bite your tongue on a lot of things that may need to be probably you want to say or need to say. Or she going to blame me, oh, you was cheating on me. That's why, oh, well, you was cheating on me. That's why. Now, leave that shit alone. Let that shit go. Let it die to the side. If you can, have a cordial conversation with this woman. And maybe you can avoid all this extra stuff that we're talking about. And you can get it done that way. And again, the courts will recognize it as long as the judge sign in is notarized. But my final thought is, black man, protect yourself at all times.
Yes, sir.
Whether you got to get on somebody's Zoom meeting or sit on somebody's couch, man, get your mental right. Get your blood work right, man. Go get your checkups. Heart disease and diabetes, the biggest killer amongst black men. In order for us to be around this world as long as we can, you got to be healthy and upright. If that means you got to do some exercise, I encourage you to do it. 25 minutes a day to get the heart rate going. You don't have to go to the gym to do it. You could do it around your home. You could do it around your neighborhood. It doesn't matter. Do what you got to do. A guy who's more established and got a little bit more age to him, like myself, go get your colonoscopy and go get your prostate checked.
Right, health as well. That's right.
Prostate cancer is a mother, and you don't want to have to deal with it. I've seen it. My grandfather been through it, and we done lived it. It's a rough thing to see and go through. So please, guys, check. Get those things checked, because some of those things could be avoided if you take care of it. Black man, hey, I appreciate y'all allowing me to hang up with you guys, man. Thank you again. Hey, come check me out in the basement, man. I got a show on Wednesday, man. I do it 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, man. Just come in to check out the basement with me. Hang out a little bit. I'm trying to get CJ back over. I ain't had Tez yet, but I don't know what's up. I think he's beefing, and I don't know about it. But that's okay. Black man. I promise you, I still got love.
I'm working 12 hours a day, man. I'm trying.
I understand, but as soon as you get off, you tap in with me. I'm here for you.
I'll catch you.
Already
No excuses.
And if you need to talk to me, give me a call. You got that number.
Hank, appreciate you, brother. I'll be over there.
This brother right here.
Hey, I hope I was able to share some gems and some information, man, tonight, man. Hey, tell the brother I need to get on the show too. But final thoughts, man. We really have a top down and bottom up approach. We need to, from the top, we need to change these laws and work together to get these laws changed to be more favorable for our children. But from the bottom up, we need to educate ourselves. It is imperative that we go out, we get the book. Our children have rights. We can go to the nonprofit organization. Our children have rights.org. However you want to get this information and this education, it is imperative that we educate ourselves in order to prepare for the situation or the process that we have ahead of us. Our children deserve it. Our children have the right to have access to us, and it is up to us to protect our children's rights. So our children have rights, man. Listen, man, y'all, hit the link, hit the guy, y'all come get me, come see me. I'm here. We're gonna protect these children, and we're gonna make sure that we do the best thing that we can and do the best that we can to make sure that we protect our community and build our community. So I appreciate you guys for having me on, man. This was excellent, man. I had a blast, man. Let's do it again. All right.
Right.
For sure. Look, we can't let you go without saying it to you, my brother.
Right. Like, man, we will be honored to have you on. Like, me and CJ was even talking in the background about maybe locking in on, maybe becoming members or being a part of the spokes. Like, because, bro, what is happening in this organization is will fundamentally change the way the Black community is if we can execute it and if we can get brothers to tap in. So, man, whatever we can do to help this thing grow, me and CJ more than willing to do it.
Perfect.
Whatever you need from us, bro, let us know. Whatever you need from us.
We'll talk, man. So the main thing, we want to get this information out there. We want to get this knowledge out there, man. We want to let these people know that we're a resource, right? There's information, especially for dads. We already think that we don't have any resources because a lot of our resources target women. Women have a baby. You got WIC, you got TANF, you got all these things. There's not one resource out here that I can think of that targets a dad. And so we want to be that resource that starts the trend and change that around and change that narrative and starts to target dad. And we want to make sure that we understand how to protect these children's rights to have access to it. So there's a lot of work that we can do, man. We'll definitely stay in contact. We'll definitely be in touch. I'm always out there anyway. I'm always in Arkansas anyway, in Little Rock. So, I'll make sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know where y'all at.
Okay. For sure.
All right, guys.
Thank you again, bro.
No problem.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
Woo!
My boy.
Man.
My boy.
Bro, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, this was,
what do we say?
bro.
Hold on. Before we wrap, I want to let you know how impactful this conversation was.
What we got?
Brother Ishmael hopped off the panel, right?
Yeah.
But he was so moved by what happened, he sent me a text, and I asked him, could I read it? Because I didn't want to, invade his privacy. But he said, I have to drop my kids off, but tell him I do appreciate him for putting in the work to help. I mess with y'all for challenging me on being a better father. I understand why, and I understand the perspective it gives to the world. I'm more focused on me and my feelings and finances that sometimes I lose sight of the bigger picture. My daughter is missing on the structure that she needs, so his organization will be getting a contact from me.
Come on, bro.
Excellent.
Come on. Y'all, this what
I
we
take that
talking
over
about.
a super chat. I take that over a super chat any day.
Any day. Like, bro, when my brother asked them questions, bro, he wanted to get in contact with Greg, and he was like, bro, I believe I can do this. I'm like, bro, because you got to understand how defeated some of these brothers be, because they don't even think they got a right. They don't even think they got a choice. And he was like, bro, I believe I can do it. I'm like, man, get into Greg. That he was like, bro, I'm gonna get in touch with him because I believe I can get full custody. And bro, I know the behind the scenes. If he do it the right way, this is an easy win for him, bro. Like,
bro, I want to make this clear. I reached out to Greg in an email after I saw him on this big channel, Dr. Tia Son Johnson. Shout out to Dr. Tia Son Johnson. Greg replied to me in 5 minutes. No time at all.
We don't see that, bro. What you, CJ, this something else the people don't know. The politics of YouTube, the politics of this space. If you ain't got 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 followers, people don't mess with you over here. Greg hit CJ back in 5 minutes, and he ain't say, what hey man, y'all gotta have over 10,000 subscribers for me to come.
What's your subscriber count, my nigga?
Right. His mindset was, if y'all can help get this message out, I don't care. We done changed 2 brothers' lives tonight. Just with the information. Like CJ said, that's worth more than a super chat or a cash app to me any day. Because I believe both of these brothers can be great fathers, especially after this tonight. Bro, that's all I got, man.
I ain't got much to say either. The information, bro. I mean, I'm rethinking some things. I won't say mine though. I won't say mine. We cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no issues. We cool.
Move in silence.
Right. But it made me rethink some things, and now I kind of understand how I got in the place I got in. You know, Ishmael said something, and I'm with him when he said it. He said we don't have rights. That's the first thought coming to my mind when I was in that courtroom. It's like I go in there thinking I don't have rights. You know what I'm saying? Because of what I've heard, horror stories, all that, not good stuff, but bad stuff. It brings you into that courtroom with a negative mentality. And this brother is telling you how to establish custody from the get-go, bro.
Yes, sir.
That's, I mean, come on, man. Where are you gonna get this at, bro?
I'm telling you, bro. Man, I'm like I said, I just want to thank everybody that's watching, everybody that watched, everybody that commented, the super chats, bro. We appreciate you. And just know this was for y'all tonight. Like this for the brothers that been asking, for the parents that been asking, what can I do? We gave it to you tonight.
Yep. And shout out to Greg, man. I appreciate it. Didn't ask for $1. The information he gave is you can't even quantify it, to be honest with you. But we appreciate it. So we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. I hope we'll catch you guys on the replay. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all go check out the 5100podcast.com. This will also be available on in the podcast form too. So you can go check this out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can get this podcast there as well. So on that note, we're gonna wrap this thing up. So for your guy CJ 100,
You got to is the fire.
We are the 5100 podcast. You dig.
Two G's.